This year it's been as significant as the red of Ferrari, Irish racing green, and to a large extent the green of envy, as Eddie Jordan's Silverstone-based team makes the giant step into Formula One look easy. Home is just 200 yards from Woodcote Corner, and history has seen the Jordan name successful in Formula 3 and Formula 3000. But to be point scorers in Grand Prix racing, well, that's another thing entirely.
This is the stuff that you just got from the new telemetry stuff.
Undaunted, Eddie gave himself a year to piece together the jigsaw. Gary Anderson had the same time to design the chassis.
The main thing was to get the engine. I always felt we had an excellent designer with Gary Anderson here, and so I had already got the design side in my mind, how it should form. And the tyres and the engines were the major issues after that. And the tyres with Goodyear, they came very quickly and with a decision to go. Then speaking with Ford in America gave us the chance for the second engine beside Benetton. And so it all sounds very easy, but believe me, it was very difficult.
And you in particular concentrated on the financing of the project. Now you seem to have one big sponsor potentially there who disappeared, and then with the Gulf War looming, you went out and got one of the most envied sponsors in the sport, I would have thought. How did you manage that?
Well, went to a meeting in London where they had all their marketing vice presidents, and I had to speak, and of course I was quite nervous, and because these people had perhaps listened to every pitch that ever was possible to be pitched, and I think they liked it, and they thought we were very realistic and very honest. I informed them of the risk element, of what could be a failure, but I felt that the upside was quite phenomenal if it actually came off, and I believed it could be, and I tried to justify in a very clear, emphatic way why it would come off. And they, I won't say fell for it, but they liked it, and they have gained as a result, I believe. We both have gained. It's been a very good marriage.
But the marriage would have no time for a honeymoon. For at least the first part of the season, the 7-Up Jordan Fords would need to pre-qualify. In the first round at Phoenix, de Cesaris failed, but Gachot limped out of the race after looking good. Optimism was perhaps justified. The dreaded pre-qualifying was not to be a major obstacle.
Apart from the very first race at Phoenix where we had an engine failure, that was the only time that we didn't pre-qualify, and that was with Andrea de Cesaris, who had just joined the team, and you know, he was very disappointed. We were very disappointed, but in fact it was probably the best thing possible, because had we walked through pre-qualifying, it might have made us blasé about the situation, and one can never be blasé about pre-qualifying because it can bite you back so quickly. It's one of these situations that you think you're there with 5 minutes to go, and suddenly you can have both cars non-qualify.
The race itself can bite you back as well. Mansell's disappointment in Canada would be a turning point for the Jordan team.
He's stopping! Nigel Mansell, just a few hundred yards from the flag on the last lap. He's stopping, he's banging his steering wheel in frustration. Something has happened. It looks as though he's out of the race. Whatever
effect that had on Nigel Mansell's season, it had a profound impact on Jordan's prospects, because Andrea de Cesaris and Bertrand Gachot were now promoted to 4th and 5th. They'd been fighting gearbox problems and tyre problems, but they were in the points. An extraordinary achievement for a fledgling team, and one that was to help remove the need for pre-qualifying. Canada was the breakthrough.
It was just a magic weekend. You know, some things you get on a roll. We had we entered the raft race across the river Hudson, and we won that. And that in itself was, you know, the start of the perfect weekend. It's often sad to see we were the beneficiary of another person's plight, which was Nigel, who stopped on the very last lap, which promoted us from 5th and 6th into 4th and 5th. So I think you take it what way it comes, and it came very good for us in Canada. It was ironical because Ireland were playing America in soccer, and they decided, quite unknown to me, a lot of supporters made the trip from Boston up to Canada, and they were all there, so we had one good Irish party. I promise you, it was a great night.
But then came the hangover. Bertrand Gachot, who'd shown such wonderful form for Jordan as well as winning Le Mans for Mazda, received an 18-month jail sentence for a CS gas attack on a London cab driver. His release on appeal couldn't disguise the damage to the team and his promising career.
I cannot say if I'm going to race or not. But you hope so? I certainly will try, yes.
Bertram kept it very much to himself. I often wish now he hadn't done it. but he always felt that there was no problem. He had his own clear vision of what happened, and to be absolutely honest, we had no idea whatsoever that the sentence could have been as severe, in our opinion, as it was. I feel bad about it in a couple of ways. I feel bad about it for Bertram because obviously it has hurt his career. It also has hurt the team because there was a great bond between the drivers and the team, and we were flowing. This was the 6th race in a row that we had scored points, so we were on a very good roll, so to speak, and we had a good feeling, and there was no disruption. Everyone was pushing and striving for the ultimate, which was the maximum number of points we could achieve. And I would have wanted Andrea and Bertram to start and finish the season in a normal manner.
Gachot's plight prompted protests at the next round, his home Grand Prix in Belgium. But it was part of the learning process and a new opportunity, especially for the West German Michael Schumacher. First time in anything like a Formula One car, he qualified on the 4th row, only to go out with a clutch problem on the very first corner. But then De Cesaris started a charge, battling in the top 3, closing on Ayrton Senna.
De Cesaris challenging, De Cesaris going through and taking Piquet at Les Combes. So Senna leads. De Cesaris is up into 2nd place, and Andrea De Cesaris has not been in 2nd place for a very, very, very long time.
But that was the closest he got to Senna. Engine failure would put him out. But by the next round in Italy, the driver's contractual circus was in full swing. Schumacher had suddenly replaced Roberto Moreno at Benetton. Jordan was obliged to take Moreno in the vacant seat. The tables turned on Jordan, a very experienced driver's agent himself.
I find it sad because it's the first time it's ever happened that an advisor would take a young driver who I felt was much more at home in the family atmosphere and the way we bring on our drivers and the style and the way we prepare them for future times, whether they go to McLaren or Williams or Ferrari, who are for sure the top 3 teams. But to make that change to go to Benetton, I can't see personally the need why they should have done it.
So an action-packed year. The first chassis, the first sponsor, the first point scored, the first crisis. And a new home. Next month, the team moves just opposite the Silverstone main gates. They're to work on a new car to carry their new Yamaha engine. And they'll also reflect on some new targets. Now they know that Formula One holds no fears.
I want to always be realistic about the situation. The first year will be difficult, but I think we can get ourselves on the podium. And then the next year we have to look at winning a race and winning races, with the possible using that as a platform to win a championship the year after. So I think 3 years is realistic.